Hey guys, so today I want to make a video on how to officially complete your atlas, get your full atlas completion, or at least a 126 atlas completion out of the 132. So I want to go over everything here, what atlas tree to use, what you can do to atlas tree, how to get maps, how to get map sustain, everything maybe for like a new player that should know, or maybe for more experience, just forgot how to properly progress. This video is also for you. So I made this whole notepad here. We'll go over everything and the atlas trees. So let's talk about how to efficiently complete your atlas and some basics. So the most efficient and basic way to complete your atlas is to do the strat where you complete everything below +2 of the highest you complete. So only ever do a map tier if it's 2 below the max tier you already complete. So what does this essentially mean? Essentially, if your highest tier completed is like, let's say a tier 7. So if I have a tier 7 complete, then you want to do every single map that's 2 tiers below. So do every tier 5 you have, every tier 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, this is not like a necessarily strict rule. If you don't have every single tier 4, don't worry about it. Just continue on. But yeah, this is what you want to do. So once you complete every tier 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you have your tier 7. Do your tier 7. Hope you drop a tier 8. Then complete your tier 8 and do all your tier 6s. And you rinse and repeat. Once you have all your tier 6s done, all these order tier 6s that you have at least available to yourself, then do a tier 9, etc., etc. You want to repeat and do this. The reason why this is the most efficient for 126 atlas completion, not like 2 stone or 4 stone rushing, which is more so for races, is because a map boss can always drop +2 tiers. So if you do a tier 6, you kill the map boss, you can drop a tier 8. This just vastly improves your sustain. It also makes the early atlas progression extremely easy because you're more so doing white and yellow maps instead of immediately rushing to tier 16s, which requires an extremely strong build. This is always how I complete my atlas because I care for 126 atlas completion because that's usually what you want for like maximum currency gains at the bare minimum. Now for the last 6 atlas completion points, I don't really care for because they require Maven and these are a little bit harder and require a little bit more investment, and the maps themselves also cost a bit. So I usually do this like day 2 or day 3. It's not that important at all to do it day 1. It's usually just not really worth it. That's the first thing to know about atlas completion, of how, if you want to be efficient, you want to go atlas points, that is how you should do it. Next is use the Kirik vendor constantly. Kirik is the #1 most important thing for atlas completion. He's legit probably around like 50% of your resources for maps. He's just that strong, both Kirik himself and the Kirik atlas missions. So yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can talk to Kirik here. He's unlocked immediately after completing X, and you can buy maps from him. And they usually cost chance orbs, and then eventually they'll cost alchemy orbs, and then eventually chaos orbs. The chaos orbs are not really worth buying whatsoever. They're usually way too expensive. If you did want to buy it, they are usually cheaper on trade. Only ever buy the maps that cost chance orbs and alchemy orbs. It can be worth to buy a map for chaos orb if, for one, it's a unique map like this. If you know the unique map's expensive, in this case, this would be worth buying. Usually this unique map, the Putrid Cloister, is worth more than 7 chaos, or a guardian map. Guardian maps are usually also pretty efficient to buy from Kirik, and so usually like 8 chaos, and they may cost like 15 chaos in like day 1 and day 2. So that's the first thing. Make sure you always use the Kirik vendor. If you need more chance orbs, you can always go to Act 10 or like any act, go to a vendor and use your fusions to buy chance orbs. So as you see here, 1 chance orb is 1 fusion, and this is worth doing. You want to get all your atlas completion as fast as possible. So do this to get more maps. The next thing is the Kirik missions. So Kirik has both his vendor and the Kirik missions. The Kirik missions are also extremely important to atlas progression. So yeah, you can do white missions, yellow missions, and red tier missions. So something to note is every single time you open a Kirik mission, his vendor resets. So if I open this map right here, I don't even have to go in it, and his vendor is automatically reset. This is very, very useful. So for example, let's say you're already in like yellow tier maps, and if all the white tiers completed, that means you can waste your white tier missions on random maps just to refresh his vendor. You can also use it for unique maps. So unique maps, you can complete them at any tier and they count for completion. So usually when I say unique map on here, I automatically take it because it's a very easy and very simple way to do it. Kirik is very, very important. Make sure you're always doing his missions, and make sure before you open a mission that you buy whatever relevant maps he has in his vendor so you can obviously complete your atlas faster. Also something to note, if you weren't aware, doing Kirik mission maps is atlas completion, but they do have to meet the requirements. So for example, in red tier, a map has to be both rare and corrupted for it to count as completion. So if you do like a grotto map like this right here, this will not count for completion, but this relic chambers map would, because corrupted and rare. Yellow maps only have to be rare, and then of course white maps only have to be magic. Also, ideally you want to save Kirik maps or Kirik missions for the highest tiers. So in white tiers, tier 1 to 5, try to save all your Kirik missions for tier 5 maps. Not too important on white maps, it's more important on yellows and reds. But yeah, when you get to yellows, try to save your curative missions for tier 10s. And most importantly, in reds, you really want to save all your red missions for tier 16s, as those can be the hardest to get at league start. This is not a strict rule. If you have to refresh this vendor, do it. It's always worth it. But yeah, that is something to keep in mind while progressing. Next thing to know is 3-to-1 vendor recipe. So yeah, in PoE 1, just like PoE 2, you can 3-to-1 your maps, but you just do it at vendor here instead, and it always gives you 1 tier higher. So 3 codes for a tier 15 academy. This is very useful. You should always 3-to-1 if you need the map of that next tier. If you have tier 3 completed and all these tier 3s are completed, you have no use for them, so you might as well 3-to-1 them to tier 4 if you don't have those tier 4 maps. So yeah, very useful. You should always be doing it. It's always worth it. That's mostly about it for like the easy and quick ways to progress your atlas for tips. Now I want to go over like the atlas tree itself and some other gear and stuff you can do as well. So first things first is June. So June is extremely good for early gearing, especially in SSF, but also in trade. This is optional in trade. For SSF, it's pretty much mandatory, but yeah, it is very good for gearing. And she did get buffed this league as well, where June might give you like more 6 links from like the hideouts. So that is something to consider as well, where if you do June, you might get an easier 6-link experience. But also June can be hard if your build's not that strong. So depending on your build, you can also feel free to spec out of June and ignore her past tier 11s, because in red maps, they can do quite a bit of damage, and it can be quite challenging if your build is not like high DPS or high tankiness. Do keep that in mind as well. Essence as well, there's some really early essence nodes you can take on your atlas tree. These right here. If your build can use these essence in an effective way, and also these essence nodes right here. So for example, on a bow build, I usually like to pick up these early essence nodes because I can use the elemental essence to try to craft like a decent ele bow. So yeah, if your build can use essence early on, like really cheap and efficient gear, then it can be worth picking up. And last thing to note, while you can try to farm currency while cleaning your atlas, it's usually just way more efficient just to rush all your maps and get full atlas completion and then focus on a currency strategy. This is what I always do. I don't really make that much currency doing 126 atlas completion. I just try to get it done as fast as possible because that is just the most efficient way to play if you want to play like that. Of course, if you want to farm currency early on, do it. You know, it's up to you. You play the game how you want. There are other exceptions though. For example, if you know you're going to farm ultimatum, you're like a full ultimatum build, and you just want to do ultimatum, like you don't need full atlas completion. In that case, you can just do all of the atlas maps you need for your bare minimum completion, let's say like 70 points, and then start farming ultimatum. It just kind of depends on what you're doing. Usually the strats I type it do utilize 126 points. So now the final thing is the atlas progression trees. So this is a pretty typical and standard full atlas progression tree if you want to rush atlas completion. This is not the only way you can do it. I'll show step-by-steps as well, and when you can skip, what you can ignore, and what you can grab for yourself as well. So this is what I would call the bare minimum tree, as in no matter what you're really going to do in the end game, like whether you're doing hike harvest or expedition or daily, whatever, this is kind of like the basic tree you want to always have for atlas completion. There are some optional stuff in here which I'll talk about, but yeah, essentially June and Nico are optional, but they are very strong. The reason why you take Nico is you don't really care for a soul fight, but you take him for packed with energy. This gives you 35% increased damage, 15% increased move speed, and 1% to all maximum resist for each soul fight you click, and the stack does refresh every time you click a new soul fight. So at the end of the map, when you get to the map boss, you got 100% increased damage, 45% increased move speed, and 3 max res. This is very nice for early power gain, especially if your build's on the more weakest side. If you're playing a really strong build, like maybe like slams, you can skip this, but it still is quite nice. Same with shrines. Shrines not only spawn more packs in your maps, so you get more maps as well, and just more natural loot, but they also give you buffs. So this is also very nice as well. You get 2 shrine buffs and increased shrine effect from every single shrine you click. So yeah, this could be a lot of player power. Getting stuff like a Salvation Shrine will also speed up your maps. But once again, this is optional. You don't have to take this, but I do like it for early atlas progression. And then we have Destructive Play here. This is also kind of optional, but it is really nice for early atlas completion. You can skip this if your build is weak, if you don't have good boss damage or good defense. But if you're playing a strong build, then Destructive Play is very good. It just gives you a lot of bonus maps because a boss map does have a natural 25% chance to drop an additional map. So Destructive Play is really good for early sustain. Past that, everything is pretty much standard and mandatory. You want to take all these curative mission nodes. You want to take these as well, and of course the increased map tier chance, so you can get higher tier maps more easily. Now we'll also take in June, and like I said, June's very good early on. You can skip in a softcore trade, but still really good for like early gear and early experience. These nodes are pretty much I always take no matter what. 4 points. These nodes are more so optional. If you want to invest into more June, you want to do the new safe houses, then take these nodes as well. And you can also take these nodes up here as well in the new patch if you want to go full in on June. That's up to you though. But yeah, I usually do June in like white and yellow maps, some early red maps, and like spec out of it when I have like enough EXP and enough gear. Now I'll show you a step-by-step process on how you should spend your points. So the first thing you want to do is immediately rush Keurig missions. Like I said, Keurig is the most important thing for Atlas Russian. So you have these nodes, you want to immediately rush, then you might as well grab these +1 nodes right here because you already have them, right? So I usually grab this. This is my start of my Atlas. Then after this, I would usually take June. Once again, I'm pretty experienced in gear, and then rush down to the other Keurig nodes right here for another 6% chance to have a Keurig mission when you complete a map. After this, I'll get some more map plus tier chance because once again, very, very good for map sustain and to get to higher tiers. After this, the choice is kind of up to you. So from here, if you want to do Nico, you can take Nico right now, get all these Nico nodes, and this will give you a lot of player power. You can also take shrines right now if you want. Or if you don't need player power and you just want like more map sustain, go over here, take these map nodes, then immediately rush over until you get destructive play. This will give you the most amount of map sustain. Now, you can also click on Wave of Vision. Personally, I don't like clicking this in softcore trade because you can get random scare drops like 5 to 10 C day 1. So I think it's better not to click it for softcore trade. In the SSF environment, it's a little bit different. But yeah, I personally don't like clicking it, but you can if you want for 20 bonus Atlas points, but you do lose all of your scarabs. Also, something to note, if you're not going to click on Wave of Vision, make sure to use your common scarabs. Your common scarabs can help you a lot just for regular map sustain, like increase magic pack size, spawning a breach, whatever. Do use your scarabs for Atlas completion. It is worth it. Just make sure you're not using the expensive scarabs because you would want to sell those instead for like chaos orbs to upgrade your gear even more. Rush and destructive play is very, very good for sustain. So if you want to go for maximum sustain, rush destructive play. If you want more player power, then grab the Nico nodes and grab the Shine nodes as well. So yeah, this is up to you depending on how much player power you want and how much map sustain you want. Then after this, you're pretty much done. Like I said, you can do whatever you want after this. If you want to do harvest, because you want to farm harvest, you can start taking harvest nodes. If you want more map sustain, you come down here, get these Keurig missions, and get this wheel as well. And if you still want more after that, you can take every single adjacent map drop chance. This gives you a 2% chance for every single node to drop one additional map that's connected to your map, which is likely to be a higher tier. So you can take all these as well. But like I said, the choice is up to you. Like, for example, if you want to farm harvest, you can start clicking every single harvest node. If you want to farm June, start clicking every single June node. It's just up to you, but at bare minimum, this is the Atlas tree I would have. But anyway, that's pretty much the whole video. If you have any questions or comments, just leave a comment below. I'll try to answer it before league launch, of course. But this is the effective and efficient way to complete your Atlas. Just to get 126 completion. I usually just try to rush as fast as possible because when you have 126 completion, you can start doing some currency making strats. But yeah, that's about it.